Sony just looked at PlayStation 4 side dramatically and said,
It's not you, it's progress.
yes, the same company that sold you dreams of 10-year console lifespans is now basically pulling the plug on the PlayStation 4's social life. The poor console is not dead yet, but Sony just sent it to hospice care. Come spring 2026, several of PlayStation 4's beloved back-end services will quietly vanish into the digital afterlife. No funeral, no flowers, not even a discount on PlayStation Plus for the grieving. They're just gone. One day you will log in and your PlayStation 4 will stare back at you like an aging celebrity realizing Hollywood's moved on. And before you ask, no, multiplayer isn't dying.
Yet anyways.
Sony just decided to rip out 6 legacy PlayStation Network features and call it optimization because nothing says progress like deleting things people actually use. So congratulations, if you're still on PlayStation 4, you're officially part of the legacy club. No membership perks, no monthly newsletters, just the quiet sound of features disappearing while Sony tells you it's for your own good. Let's break it down, guys. Sony is sunsetting 6 major PlayStation Network related features from the PlayStation 4. These are the backbone of many of the system's social and online tools, and starting spring 2026, they're gone. Poof! First up, the Activity Feed Web API, basically the stalker feed that showed what your friends were playing or bragging about. Gone. Sony decided you didn't need to know that your buddy just got his 400th Elden Ring Death Trophy. Next is Titled Small Storage or TTS and Titled User Storage or TUS, basically the behind the scenes safe sync systems that developers use to store small data chunks and user stats. Those are gone too, because who doesn't love when your
Favorite game suddenly forget who you are.
User profiles are next on the chopping block, meaning new PlayStation 4 games won't support detailed player info. No more fancy bios, no more comparing trophies like digital peacocks, you'll just be player 1 again like it's freaking 1997. Then there is shared media, which is corporate for your ability to share screenshots and videos. That's freaking right, Sony's making sure future PlayStation 4 titles will treat your clips like FBI files.
Sealed and inaccessible.
And finally, word filters. Apparently Sony decided it's 2026 and we can handle unfiltered profanity again. Prepare for online lobbies to sound like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 era, now featuring less censorship and more psychological warfare.
Get good, noob.
Now, before you cry into your DualShock 4, not everything's gone. The PS Store, multiplayer support, and PS Plus aren't dying.
Yet anyways.
You can still buy games, play online, and pretend Sony still somehow cares. But for how long? Let's just say the clock's ticking louder than a time bomb in a Mission Impossible movie. And Sony's official justification? Wait till you hear this. They want a unified scalable foundation across all consoles, meaning they're trying to streamline their systems so PlayStation 5 and beyond can operate
without PlayStation 4's old spaghetti code slowing them down.
In theory, it actually sounds smart. In practice, it's like saying we're cleaning up the kitchen while setting the fridge on freaking fire. And the impact? Developers working on PlayStation 4 titles after spring 2026 will lose access to these features entirely. That means fewer social features, fewer updates, and potentially less incentive to release
Sorry guys.
To release games on PlayStation 4 at all. In other words, the PlayStation 4 isn't being killed.
It's being quietly abandoned in a parking lot at night.
The future impact is clear. Once this shift begins, it won't stop. Legacy features will keep fading one by one until the PlayStation 4 becomes what Sony always wanted it to be. A fond memory that sells PS5s. Here's the thing guys, it's ridiculous. But I kinda get it. Sony isn't doing anything that Apple, Microsoft, or even Samsung hasn't done 1,000 times before. It's the same corporate life cycle routine. New product comes out, old one gets quietly shoved off a cliff with a smile and a "We value your loyalty." I mean, guys, remember when Apple declared the iPhone 6 a vintage device? Suddenly, a phone that could still run YouTube was treated like it belonged in a museum next to a fossilized dinosaur. Sony's basically doing that, except instead of phones, it's your precious console. This isn't new behavior. Tech companies love to act like their old phones spontaneously developed cancer after a few years.
Oh no, it can't handle modern features anymore.
Yeah, sure John, pretty sure it could, you just don't want it to. Sony says it's allocating resources to focus on the future. In other words, they're funneling developers and servers towards PS5s to make sure its fancy features don't explode under pressure. The PS4's codebase is basically that one old co-worker who knows everything but refuses to learn Slack. But come on, Sony, freaking Sony! PlayStation 4 players have been carrying this company for a decade. The console deserves respect, a parade, and maybe a retirement plan, not a slow motion execution. Instead, Sony's acting like it called the PS4 Coffin and immediately called a priest. Now, whether this is meant to nudge players towards PlayStation 5 sales, reallocate resources for optimization, or just make sure Jim Ryan gets another bonus, there is always an angle.
And spoiler alert, it's never for us.
That, unfortunately, is the cruel beauty of corporate logic. If a system still works perfectly fine, it must be destroyed to make way for one that's only slightly shinier. Progress is great, but progress with a knife behind its back, even better. So yeah, I understand Sony's reasoning, but it's like understanding why someone punches you doesn't mean you're okay with it. You ever get that weird mix of rage and reluctant acceptance? That's what this Sony situation feels like. A breakup you didn't want but still end up saying, yeah, I saw this coming. On one hand, I'm freaking furious. Sony's leaving millions of loyal PlayStation 4 players in the dust. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. The slow fade out is almost worse than an instant shutdown. It's like watching your favorite show get cancelled mid-season, except the show was your entire gaming library. It really hurts because the PlayStation 4 wasn't some throwaway console. This thing defined a freaking era. It gave us masterpieces like Bloodborne, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, games that made your controller cry in fear. It survived console shortages, the great Fortnite wars, and about 10,000 gigabytes of mandatory Call of Duty updates. The PlayStation 4 was a freaking war hero, and Sony sending it off like an expired coupon. But here's also the problem, guys. I kind of get it. Technology evolves. A king's time always fades to make room for a new one. As much as we want to, we can't expect Sony to maintain every server forever. They'd be running an electronic retirement home basically. At some point, the torch has to pass. The PlayStation 5 is the new shiny toy, let's face it, and the future always needs, well, fresh batteries. Still, it's sad watching progress come at the cost of history. The PlayStation 4 deserves a museum wing, not a quiet deletion notice buried in a corporate blog post. Sony could at least keep a skeleton crew working on legacy support like Blizzard still does with Diablo 2. That's a game older than half the internet, and they have remastered it and patched it occasionally. If Blizzard, the devil incarnation corporate can still do it, Sony definitely can too. And yet, we all know what's really going on. Sony's moving forward, cutting costs and pretending the PlayStation 4 is in a better place. It's the digital equivalent of putting grandma in a retirement home and saying, she's happy now.
Spoiler, grandma isn't freaking happy. Neither are the players still using PlayStation 4 to this day.
At the end of it all, unfortunately, I am not thrilled about this decision, but I am forced to accept it. It really breaks my heart to watch the sun set on something you grew up with, knowing it will never rise the same way again. Listen, Sony, I get the logic behind it, but emotionally, yeah, I'm still that PS4 kid clutching the DualShock pretending nothing's changing. Because for all the PlayStation 5 upgrades, the nostalgia of the PlayStation 4 era can't be patched, updated or remastered. It's something you can only feel, and Sony just pressed delete. And that, gamers and gamerettes, is the story of the PlayStation 4, the console that carried gaming for a freaking decade, only to be slowly wheeled into the tech retirement home while the PlayStation 5 takes selfies at its funeral. Sony calls it progress, but let's be real, this is corporate euthanasia with better lighting. The PlayStation 4 deserves a freaking gold-plated plaque, not a quiet shutdown notice stuck between two controller announcements. It's almost poetic. The same console that defined an entire generation is now defined by service continuation. The world, it will move on, but at least it could have sent a thank you card first. I get it, you get it, everyone gets it. Things evolve, but watching Sony do this still feels like being ghosted by someone you introduced to their first great game. Sure, PlayStation 5 needs attention, but does it need all the attention? It's like the PlayStation 4's on life support and Sony's texting PlayStation 6 under the table. Somewhere out there, a PlayStation 4 is booting up for one last match of Apex Legends, completely unaware the execution order's already been signed. Not all is bad though, there are some good news. PlayStation 4 might, and I'm saying might, still get Black Ops 7. But the sad news, it might be the last AAA title it gets. At the end of the day, progress always leaves something behind, and this time it's millions of loyal players and one iconic black box. So yeah, I understand it, but I don't have to freaking like it. Sony may call this the future, but for many players it feels like the end of an era. The PlayStation 4 will fade out quietly, but its legacy, that's permanent data. So go ahead gamers and gamerettes, light a candle, press start one more time, and let the old king rest. What do you guys think? Is Sony making the right call, or is this just another episode of
Corporations don't care about your console edition?
Let me know down below. And guys, thank you once again for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content in the future. Take care and I'll see you in the next one.